so many of us are in pursuit of excellence in everything we do. We constantly stress about grades, deadlines, and our social lives. Like many of you, I too am a perfectionist, but I am a perfectionist in recovery. My imperfect life began on May 10th, 2004, when I decided I wanted to enter this world 7 days early. It was one of the most stressful and chaotic days of my parents' lives. My mom went into labor in Houston, Texas, while my dad was in the United Kingdom, making arrangements to move our family to London. I was born at 10:30 a.m., while my father was frantically trying to book a flight back to the US, 4,846 miles away. The chaos and irony of my life began on day one. My parents named me Katalina Marie Guma. Although I'm often called Katrina, Catherine, or Katarina, my name is Catalina, and it begins with a K, not a C. My name is Spanish for Catherine, but my mom wanted to keep the K from her Anglo-Saxon name, Kelly. My name is a hybrid of my Latina and Anglo-Saxon heritage. But my name is not very common. When I visited the English countryside with my brother at 3 years old, he asked my parents for a keychain from a gift shop that had a small animal on it and his name, Nicholas. I wanted a keychain of my own, but had no luck finding my name. I found a green keychain with a panda on the end that read the name Gary, written in sky blue. Instantly, I loved Gary. I begged my parents for Gary. I cried, I pleaded, and I threw a fit in the middle of the store. And I still have my Gary keychain. My name made me different, but I didn't want to be different. I wanted to be perfect. Up until recently, I felt blending in was better than standing out. Thinking back to 6th grade, my English class was asked to choose a saying as our personal motto in Latin. I chose Omne esse perfectum, which translates to everything must be perfect. After class, I made a cup of ramen noodles. While I was running to make the bus, I spilled hot soup on my white polo and sat soaked in ramen for the entirety of my 1-hour bus ride home. My father is Venezuelan, and we used to live in Miami, Florida, which is predominantly Hispanic. I dreaded my move to Nashville from Miami in 8th grade because I had to start over, make new friends, and begin another imperfect chapter of my life. Immediately, I noticed many cultural differences. In Latin culture, when you are greeting someone, regardless if it is someone you've known your entire life or someone you just met, you greet them with a kiss on the cheek. Everyone in Miami does it, and it's considered rude when you don't. In Nashville, if you're friends with someone, you might give them a side hug on occasion, but most of the time I realized you just don't touch at all. This is something that I wish someone had told me before my first NBA football game. I was one of 3 new girls at Harpeth Hall that year, and coming from out of state, I didn't know any NBA boys. Naturally, when I was introduced to the first NBA boy I had ever met, I leaned in for a kiss on the cheek. I'm not sure if he remembers this, but I know I always will. He had no idea what I was doing, and it was incredibly awkward. I would say his name, but his sister's sitting somewhere over there. I really thought my first middle school football game needed to be perfect, and it wasn't. I came home and told my parents what happened. My dad said, "Why were you embarrassed? You should only be embarrassed if you did something wrong." Not only did I learn how not to greet Nashvillians, but I also learned a valuable lesson about embarrassment. Since then, I have learned that NBA games are never perfect. In fact, at my first football game of senior year, someone in the student section threw a football and hit me in the head. Luckily, I found Miss Perry, and she got me some water from concessions. My family recognizes the unreasonable demands I place on myself. My sister Gianna presumptuously calls me my mom's pretty perfect princess. Perfection is unattainable. While chasing perfection, I am often chased by chaos and irony. Striving for perfection has taught me about radical acceptance, accepting the things that I cannot change. I've accepted that nothing in life is perfect, and my life would be very boring if it was. For example, when I first came to Harpeth Hall, I was one of the very few Latinas. I'm already fluent in Spanish, so I chose to challenge myself and study French instead. Being trilingual has offered me opportunities to communicate and connect with other people. I have also become more comfortable with making mistakes. When I attended a boarding school over the summer to study French in Switzerland, I was able to form connections with people from over 68 different countries. Although my knowledge of French and even English are imperfect, I noticed how much my peers appreciated my attempts to speak their language. My ability to speak Spanish offered me the opportunity to translate on the 9th grade Dominican Republic trip, connect with my coworkers at food company here in Nashville, and will offer me so many more opportunities in the future. Whether it's a Gary keychain or a kiss on the cheek, I have grown to realize that each moment of struggle, chaos, and imperfection are the moments that have taught me my most valuable lessons. Thank you.